All right, a little late, but let's get started on hiking in the Jennings State Forest. We're going to be doing a lot of programs on these Jennings State Forest trails. They've done quite a bit in Jennings lately to spruce up these trails, and we got a lot of neat stuff to look at. We'll talk a little bit about where Jennings State Forest is, touch on a little bit on its history, and then we'll take a nice hike today, and we'll be taking several hikes in future programs. So Jennings State Forest is west of town. Here's 295, Blanding Boulevard, turns into 21, goes down to Middleburg. In Middleburg, well, first of all, before Middleburg, you can take Old Jennings Road and go to some trailheads on the east side of the forest. So we'll be looking at those in a future program. But if you come in the middle of Middleburg and take 218 up, there's several roads that go off to trailheads here on the west side. And that's where we'll be looking today at some of those. So this area was originally occupied, of course, by our indigenous personnel. And this area was settled shortly after St. Augustine was settled. There was a settlement put there where the North Fork and the South Fork of the Black Creek come together real early in the history of the occupation. This area always consisted of small farms and settlements, lumber operations. Most of this area had been clear cut by the late 1800s. They did a lot of naval store stuff, cutting down, either tapping the pine trees for mineral oil and stuff, or just cutting the trees down. A guy, William S. Jennings, bought most of this area in 1910, and in 1990, the state bought 25,000 acres from the family to set aside as the Jennings State Forest. So it's about 25,000 acres. It's big. This is a little closer look. Blanding would be coming down, 21 would be coming down this way. Here's 218. And these are maybe the four major trails in this area. On the east side, you got this small fire and water trail, 1.5 miles along Old Live Oak Lane, and also the old Jennings Trailhead, which really has 3 different trails in it, a real short one, a slightly longer one, and then a 5.6 mile one right here. The newest trail started a year and a half ago, 2019, is this blue trail you see right here, this dark blue one called the Pioneer Trail. And that goes 8 miles, but soon will go about 11 miles all the way up to here. And then there's the Dunn's Farm Trail, which we'll be looking at today. So we'll be looking at the Dunn's Farm Trail and a little bit of the Pioneer Trail today. So to get to Dunn's Farm, once you get in the middle of Middleburg, you turn right on County Road 218 and then go up to Longhorn Road, turn right, and right at kind of the end of Longhorn Road is the Jennings State Forest headquarters and the Dunn's Farm Trailhead. This is the only trailhead on this side of the forest that you can get to without driving on dirt forest roads. So it's a nice place to go if you're worried about your car on forest roads, or you're worried about getting lost out there. This is a good, easy, and safe trailhead to go to. And here's the address, 1337 Longhorn Road, and you can find that on the web. So we'll take a little closer look at the trailheads right here. This area was this area was a land grant, and one of the earliest trails in the area. If you just hike the Dunn's Farm Trail, which is this straight out here and then this loop here and back, it's 3.6 miles. We're going to go an extra mile or so and go a little bit on the Pioneer Trail over here and look at the Dunn Cemetery. But it does connect with the Pioneer Trail, where you can hike forever all the way south, and this Powell Ford section, which is almost complete, where you can hike another 2.5, 3 miles to the north. it's a great trail. A lot of variety in what you do. Really a good trail that I recommend that you take a look at, and you'll see why. So as you come in off of Longhorn Road, you'll see this turn off right into here, and right in here is the trailhead. So this is what the trailhead looks like. The Iron Ranger has been covered, and they now have a QR code you're supposed to scan here at the kiosk, and it doesn't work. It takes you to be able to reserve campsites and stuff, but that's it. So, I've reported that to them that it doesn't seem to work. So that's about all we can do. But then the trail goes right through here, and the Dunn's Farm Trail is marked by pink blazes. So the first part of the trail goes through some beautiful pine flatwoods, open pine, that the kind of thing that you would have seen when you first came over here from the old world. It's flat, wide, and very pretty. And you can kind of follow where we're going on the map down here in the lower right corner. It's well marked, and any place where they think you might have a problem, they've got these signs here to make it nice and easy. We saw quite a few teenagery and younger longleaf pines growing. I don't know if these have been planted or what, but I know they want to kind of try to restore the longleaf forest in this area. So it's a beautiful area, wide open. You don't see many places like this in Florida. So it's at first 0.9 miles, very pretty and very different from a lot of places you see where you hike. Got a little, about a half-mile point, got a little Boy Scout or Eagle Scout project here. You can sit down and take a break. And then you just continue on up to this intersection where it intersects with the loop. So here we are at the intersection with the loop, right in this location. So you can take the loop to the right and go around the loop to the right. You can go to the left and go around the loop clockwise if you'd rather do that. When you go around to the right, it intersects with the Pioneer Trail. And so we'll take the Pioneer Trail down a little ways. There's also that a bridge that goes across the creek here, I'll show you in a minute, that leads to the new trail that's not complete yet. So you got a lot of options here, but if you just want to do the 3.6 miles, that's fine. Do the loop and come back. I recommend probably this part of the trail, this part of the loop here is a lot of ups and downs. It's right along the ravine of the creek, and you really probably need trekking poles to help. So if you want to do that earlier in your hike rather than later, you might want to go clockwise so you complete that first. But we're going to go the other way. And you can see there's good signs here that show everything, and good signage all around the link here. So it's not too hard to figure out where to go. Now, first thing we're going to do is go down where the trail's not completed. And this was the wait a minute, I'm sorry. First thing we want to do is go down here and look at this Pioneer Trail where it's closed. I'm sorry, folks, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. Let's try again. Yeah. So I went across the bridge and went up to this sign right here. And that sign is meant to discourage you from going on this trail that isn't complete. This is not a loop trail. This is an old trail still being completed. It's not on the map. It's not on the kiosk. It's not on the website. And so I just went down there to see what was up. But I think I'm going to go back and check this trail out and show it to you in a future program. So anyway, we're going to turn back around now and continue on the loop in a counterclockwise direction. You can see we're getting more into the woods there and quite almost out of that pine flatwoods area. There's a small campsite here that's pretty nice. Got a little fire ring and an area to camp. And that's right here. And then we come up to the next intersection where it intersects with the Pioneer Trail. There's a forest full of deer moss. So you can see it's easy to follow the blazes and see which way to go. And now we're at this intersection right here where you can turn right and go down on the Pioneer Trail, or turn left and just stay on the loop. So we're right here. If you just want to stay on the loop, you just stay left and go around. We're going to go over here and take a look at the Dunn Cemetery and a little bit of the Pioneer Trail. So we're going to turn right and go down that way. So this is a little more close up of where we are. We came to this intersection. We came up here past the campsite. Now we're right here where the Pioneer Trail intersects. We'll take the Pioneer Trail down a little bit, then we'll backtrack and finish the loop up. Now this Pioneer Trail, like I said earlier, was opened just about 2019 and follows that old original Black Creek Trail. And it's kind of cut into 2.5 mile chunks. So from Indian Ford to Knights Landing is about 2.5 miles. From Knights to Ellis Ford is about 2.5. From Ellis Ford up to here is about 2.5. And then they're building an additional part of it up here. All the rest of this, these areas here you have to get to by driving on forest roads, and I'll be showing you those in a future program. And it's moderately difficult, and you may want to bring hiking trekker poles with you. So this is a sign right at the intersection. It says Dunn Cemetery, 0.3. It's actually about 0.5, and Ellis Ford. And otherwise, you go this way to the shared Pioneer Dunn's Farm Trail. So we're going to head on down on the Pioneer Trail just a little bit. So now we're following blue blazes. The Pioneer Trail has blue blazes. You can see we're sort of getting close to being in the ravine area where it all slopes down toward Black Creek. There's an old rusted pot from maybe from turpentine a while back. There's a picture of Black Creek. And then we come to Mule Landing, which is near where we're going to turn off to go to the cemetery. There's also a campsite here and a real pretty area that I'll show you. So this is a small little campsite up at the top of the hill, looking down at Black Creek. And this is what's called the Osteen Overlook, looking down into the ravine and down into Black Creek. Really pretty views. We've even got a little John Muir quote here on the bench. Of all the paths you take in life, make sure a few are dirt. And there's another view from up at the top of the ravine looking down at Black Creek. Very pretty view here, huh? So it's worth the extra half mile or so to walk over here. There's another view. And then there's a sign that says the Dunn Cemetery, 0.1 mile up the hill. So this was established around 1900, and let's go take a look at it. So we'll climb up the hill, and there is the wider view of the cemetery. Now, 5 or 6 years ago, this cemetery was all overgrown. The fence was dilapidated, an old dilapidated fence. There were just a few flags stuck in the ground, kind of showing where grave sites were. And all this has been cleaned up and squared away and fenced in, and now it's well maintained. There are several people from various homesteads buried here. I think there's only one Dunn. The rest of them are mostly Pagets, who was a main family in this area. But let's take a closer look. So there are no gravestones in there, but they're, like I say, originally there were just kind of flags in there, and they've now identified better where the grave sites are and marked them with flowers. And then there's one stone here I'll show you in a second. that lists the people that they know of were buried there. There's 2 unknown folks that were buried there as well. So we'll return now to the Dunn's Farm loop. So we'll just backtrack back this way to here, and then we'll continue around the loop this way. And since it's going to be part of the Pioneer Trail, it's a joint Pioneer Dunn's Farm Trail, and it's going to have 2 blazes, both the blue and the pink. So we just follow that sign there, follow the blue pink. So it's pretty straightforward trail for a while, and then we start to get to some hills. We come to 3 waterfalls, which is kind of neat. The first one, Prescott Falls. Not quite Niagara Falls, but for Florida, not bad, huh? Now you can see we're walking pretty much along the side of the ravine. Got some ups and downs. And trekker poles might be advised in this area. Now we come to Schoolhouse Falls. So there's some double falls there, actually triple. There's one more way up here. So this is a real pretty part of the hike. And on to Duck Pond Falls. Also pretty. Not many places in Florida around here where you can see all those waterfalls in a short half-mile, mile hike. So then we arrive back at the loop. So we're back at the same intersection we were at, and we just follow the pink blazes back to the trailhead. So let's take a look. So this is the intersection again. I want to talk to you a little bit about this in a minute. There's going to be another way to get to this location other than hiking that 0.9 miles. So I'll be showing you that. But we just follow the trail back the way we came. Marked pretty well, back toward the trailhead and the ranger station, going that way. So back along the trail and back to the ranger station. So the whole hike about 4.6 miles when we go off on Pioneer, 0.9 miles to the intersection around the loop, took a side march over here to the Dunn Cemetery and back, and then took this part of the loop, which has got some hard up and downs, and the 3 waterfalls back to the intersection, and then back here. Now, this is really, I think this hike is one of the best hikes we've been. I hadn't been to Dunn's Farm in some time, years and years, and I hadn't been to that trail. But now with the addition of the Pioneer Trail and the cleaned up signage, this is a must do that you guys need to get out and go out and see. This is the end of Longhorn. This is the end of another road, and a dirt road goes up here. And I met some construction people that were building a parking area right here. And so eventually you can come up and take this dirt road, Forest Road, over to here and park, and you're almost at this intersection. So you might want to do that if you wanted to not do this 0.9 miles. But to me, I really like this section because of the open woods and all that stuff. I like that part of the section. And I'll be back there in a few weeks, and if this is done, I'll be including that in the program, and I'll show that to you. And we'll also look at this part of the trail. The next program we do in Jennings Forest is going to look at the Pioneer Trail and some of the other areas. So that's a quick look at Dunn's Farm Trail and a bit of the Pioneer Trail, just a half a mile or so to Dunn Cemetery, but a real nice trail. So I really advise you all to get out there.